What is going on, beautiful people? My name is BetSam, and this is going to be the UFC full card prediction and breakdown for UFC Fight Night Nashville. Derrick Lewis versus Tallison Teixeira. And honestly, guys, I've seen rumblings of people saying this is a shit card. It's not good. I'm gassed, man. I'm gassed up for this card. So I don't know what some of these people are talking about. I'm excited for almost all of the matchups. I think there's some great matchmaking. I think that a lot of these fights were made because they're going to be fun. And I think that there's some excellent betting spots as well. We're going to start off at the bottom of the card, work our way to the top, and then we're going to finish off with a little sentiment. And as always, guys, if you want to sign up for my plays, unlock BetSam's bets, check out the link in the description, wewantpicks.com/BetSam. Code BetSam for 10% off of all of the memberships, one-time use only. So to get the most value out of it, sign up for a year or even a lifetime. Let's bust into it, guys. First fight of the night is going to be, at least according to the official UFC bout order, it's going to be Fatima taking on Melissa Martinez. And Fatima is coming off the destruction of Victoria Dudakova. And, before then, she did lose to Jasmine Jasdavicius. So she's now 1-1 inside the promotion. And Melissa Martinez, an 8-1 fighter with her only loss coming to Elise Reed. A lot of the people that are breaking down this fight are talking about how Fatima is, going to dominate Melissa Martinez. She's going to take it down to the ground. The advantage that she has over her on the ground is going to be too much, and she's going to find a finish. I agree that there is a ground advantage there, and I do agree that Fatima out of the two of them, she's got a better frame for this division. Melissa Martinez kind of looks like she could make atom weight. Women's strawweight looks pretty comfortable for her to make. But I'm going to say that Fatima goes out here and does dominate in the grappling, does good enough in the striking to be able to do serviceable there. But I'm going to say that Melissa Martinez actually survives, and we get Fatima to win by decision. And I believe the odds for that prop, off the top of my head, guys, so shoot me if I'm wrong here, is plus 100. So for the favorite here, heavy favorite, Fatima to be able to win by decision, you double your money there. I actually quite like that play. A lot of people are going to scream in the comments, already smashing the keyboard, and say Fatima Klein's going to get the finish. She might, but I'm going to take the favorite here, Fatima Klein. It's women's strawweight, not exactly a high finish rate division. I'm going to say she wins by decision. So, that's going to be Fatima Klein. Pretty confident in her to get the victory there. I do like Melissa Martinez, but I'm confident that Fatima Klein is the A side here. Then we have Mitch Ramirez taking on Mike Davis. Mike Beast Boy Davis. And I will say that I'm a Mike Davis believer. I'm a Mike Davis enjoyer. And I was let down by Mike Davis in his last matchup against FACM. Now, there were rumblings of paint fumes, all the rest of his blame and all sorts of stuff. I don't know if he'd been, yanking the hog, doing all the rest of it. But either way, he said he wasn't 100%. I'm going to take him at his word here. And this is a matchup where I think that he can win. And even in his last matchup, I was a FACM believer as well. So that was a little bit of a tough one. I did think he was going to get the grappling going a little bit more successful than he did. And I don't know how much of that was FACM's improvement and how much of it was Mike Davis being a little bit off. But I'm going to assume that Mike Davis comes in here on form, and I do believe that Mitch Ramirez is, not holding a candle up to the fighter that FACM is as well. So I'm going to say Mike Davis wins this, getting his grappling going here, and I'm going to say he wins by either submission or decision. I don't think he's going to be hunting for this knockout. He doesn't really seem like that guy. I know he hits hard, but I don't think he's somebody that's just looking for the kill as far as knockouts go. I think he's a club and sub type of guy, or just, submission over anything. So I'm going to go Mike Davis to win this fight by submission. And actually, I think last time I checked, there was still like plus 290 for Mike Davis by submission. So if you guys see those odds, quite happily snatch those up. Official prediction for this one, it's going to be Mike Beast Boy Davis to win this fight by submission. Then we have Kennedy Enzichaku taking on Vtor Walker, and I'm going to do a little bit more of a deep dive in this fight than I did with others. If you guys don't know, I'm going to spoil it here. The official pick is going to be Vtor Walker. He is my underdog opportunity, my number one underdog of this card. But we're going to talk about Kennedy first. So Kennedy Enzichaku, was a mainstay staple at the light heavyweight division for an extended period of time. Even holds a win over future title contender Carlos Olberg. But he also has a loss to over the same Prue in a steering contest. So, you can take it for what it is. Sometimes he seems to turn up, look amazing. Other times he turns up, kind of point fights, kind of stalls. Kendi Enzichaku, in this heavyweight division, a lot of people are going to say he's reborn, he's revived. I will tell you right now, he just hasn't faced any adversity. There was no adversity in his fight against, 5'6", 5'7", Chris Barnett, and Chris Barnett was able to hit him in that matchup as well, even with his leg or foot, or what was it? It's some ankle injury from jumping. Even a 5'8" Chris Barnett was able to land on Kendi Enzichaku. There was no adversity in that fight, though. And in the Lucas Drisky fight as well, there was a clear speed advantage that Kennedy had. And, Lucas didn't explore a grappling option as well. So while Kendi Enzichaku is now 2-0 in the heavyweight division, we haven't seen him defend takedowns, We haven't seen him eat big shots from anybody at heavyweight. So we don't know that he's actually a better version of himself. And I just think that he's fought two really bad fighters. Now, there is a common opponent here. Vtor Walker made his debut against Lucas Drisky, and he shit the bed, and that was a fight that he was heavily favored to win. He came in, he was grappling, he was looking the part, all the rest of it, and he gassed. And I think that has a lot less to do with the capabilities of Lucas Drisky and more to Vtor Walker being a fat, out of shape heavyweight. And since then, we've seen him clean up his diet. He's coming, he's looking better. He's looking more athletic. He weighed in 265 for his debut, went down to 252 in his next match, came in at a clean 245. He seems to be doing all of the things to clean up his diet. He's doing the road work. I've seen him doing hill sprints. Vtor Walker, I do believe, is really committed to the game at this point. And I really like the trajectory of his career. He's only 27 years old, which is crazy because he looks like he's about 38. But Vtor Walker in this matchup here is absolutely live. And I think a lot of people are just assuming because Kendi Enzichaku has the cleaner boxing here that he's just going to go out here and put Vtor Walker away. And I'll tell you guys right now, it's an MMA fight. If Vtor Walker goes out here, picks Kendi Enzichaku up, and dumps him down, and is on top of him for the first 4 minutes of the fight, that's going to completely change Kendi Enzichaku's approach. So I'm taking Vtor Walker here. I'm going to assume he gets the grappling going. If he cannot, it is going to be a difficult fight for him. If he is unable to score takedowns, I do believe that he's probably dead on the feet when it comes to just a straight-up kickboxing fight. But I'm going to say that he does get the takedowns here. I'm going to say Vtor Walker wins this fight either by heel hook, the foot hunter. If you guys don't know, Vtor Walker coming off back-to-back heel hooks. Nobody in the UFC's ever done that before. If he makes it 3 in a row, it could be a legendary moment. But Vtor Walker by submission or decision is going to be my official play for that one. Let's move on to the next. There we go. Lauren Murphy coming out of retirement, and I don't mean as a fighter. I mean, what is she now, 65 years old, taking on Eduard Mora. No, but all jokes aside, guys, Lauren Murphy, 42 years old here, fighting the youngster in Eduard Mora. Eduard Mora is coming up to the flyweight division now. She looks like she's filled out her frame, isn't sucking as much weight out here. I like everything for Eduard Mora in this matchup. If you guys watch Lauren Murphy go out there and fight Jessica Andrade, she is a human punching bag. She literally grits her teeth and just kind of backed up like that, and not even quickly. If she does the same shit to Eduard Mora, she's going to knock her ass out. Eduard Mora is the pick here. I don't know why the odds aren't crazier. Like, Eduard Mora is about a 5-1 favorite, and you guys are like, whoa, 5-1 favorite. Lauren Murphy once challenged for the title. No, she didn't. She was put into a title fight. There was no challenging going on in that title fight. She fought Valentina Shevchenko, and Shevchenko just beat the shit out of her. So, Eduard Mora taking on the ghost of Lauren Murphy. Lauren Murphy, if you guys watch, there are interviews out there. She's talking about this is her retirement fight. That's been announced. She's collecting, her show money must be good at this point. She's collecting one last paycheck. She's probably going to take that money and put it straight into her other investments, which is a beautiful thing to see. She has the rest of her life lined up. I don't think that she's fighting to win here. I think she's fighting for a paycheck. She's going to turn up, do her best, go out fighting, and die on her shield. So Eduard Mora is here to take out any little ounce of notoriety, of the divisional position, of... What am I even trying to say here? Guys, somebody help me out in the comments here. Any last glimmer of what was Lauren Murphy's career, Eduard Mora is trying to suck in, out with the old, in with the new, and it's not the only matchup on this card here. I'm taking Eduard Mora. I'm not going to confidently say she wins by finish, but I do think she probably does find a finish here because, like I say, Lauren Murphy here, there's no need for her to hang on and be as tough as we've used to seeing her. I think she'd be quite happy to go down here and not be taking 200 strikes to the head, knowing that this is going to be her last fight. So I'm going to take Eduard Mora here to win by the knockout or submission. Then we have Jake the Celtic Kid Matthews taking on Chidi Bang Bang Njokuani. And this is one where I'm actually a little bit controversial. If you guys don't know, if somehow you've been living under a rock, I'm a part of We Want Picks. And I think I'm the only person picking Chidi Njokuani here from the whole We Want Picks gang. I know for sure that Jacob and Angelo have picked Jack Matthews here. And I get it. I've referenced him in my underdog opportunity video, and I said that initially when I saw this matchup, I was looking for ways to pick him. But I'm going to go with Chidi Bang Bang here, man. Chidi is huge for this division at welterweight. I don't really know how he makes the weight. In fact, sometimes he doesn't. But assuming he comes in here, makes weight, and turns up looking like he did in that Zaleski de los Santos fight, man, he looked dangerous. The way that he was stabbing with his front kick there, his cardio honestly seems to be better at welterweight, which it blows me away. His output's good, and if he can keep this fight standing, I for sure favor him in a kickboxing matchup. So I'm going to go Chidi Bang Bang here. I like the reach advantage. I like the way that he mixes up his weapons, and I could see him using that stabbing front kick to keep Jack Matthews at bay and then land with his long-range weapons. Give me Chidi Bang Bang to win this fight by knockout or decision. Let's move on to the next one. Then we got Max Payne Griffin taking on Chris Action Man Curtis. I think it's Action Man. And guys, this is the first leg of the Slam of the Week. If you don't know, Slam of the Week this week is a 2-part slam. If you haven't already seen that video, what are you doing, guys? Support your boy. By the way, guys, this is something I'm going to stop. We're going to pause. I know we're breaking down this fight, disrupting the rhythm. It is what it is. Forgive me. It came to my attention looking through the YouTube analytics that a lot of you that watch these videos are not subscribed. And that hurt my feelings, guys, because I'm trying to get that subscriber count to 10,000. It's a goal of mine by the end of the year. So do me a favor, hit the subscribe button. If you're listening to this right now, hit the goddamn subscribe button. Hit it with a like. Comment if you weren't unsubscribed so I know who you are. No, I'm just kidding. But let's get on to the fight. And so Max Griffin taking on Chris Curtis. Max Griffin in his last outing looked atrocious, in my opinion. He fought Michael Chiesa. And, regardless of the takedowns and all the rest of it, his striking didn't look that good. He never looked dangerous for any 1 second of that fight. His output was low, and he looked old, And Chris Curtis here, he's coming down to welterweight. He hasn't fought at welterweight in many years. He's been fighting up at middleweight. It looks like he's trying to make a go of it, The fact that he's willing to drop that extra 15 pounds this late in his career shows me that Chris Curtis is not giving up, This is his... a Hail Mary, if you will, really, because I think he's saying, I'm coming down to welterweight. We're making it happen or we're out the door. Because realistically, if Chris Curtis loses this matchup after changing weight classes, it's over for him. And so with that, that mounting pressure, all the rest of it, I think we're going to see some fireworks. I think Chris Curtis is going to put on a vintage performance here. I think he's going to have the higher output than Max Griffin. I think he's got more pop in his shots. He's shown historically his durability is fantastic. So assuming that carries over, into this weight cut, then I'm going to say that Chris Curtis comes out here, looks great. I think he always could have fought at welterweight, and so he was just kind of fighting up at middleweight for no real reason other than the fact that he had mixed success up there. But I mentioned that this is going to be the easiest matchup he's had in a very long time, but he's going to treat it like the most difficult. So I'm expecting the best Chris Curtis to turn up here and honestly beat the brakes off of Max Griffin. So Leg 1, Slam of the Week, Chris Curtis, high confidence. Then we have Junior Tafa taking on Tuka Tukas. And, back-to-back fighters dropping weight and getting into the next division here. Junior Tafa, looking pretty slim in that photo there, as you can see. He's now a light heavyweight. He was fighting up at heavyweight. The truth of the matter is that Junior Tafa could have always fought at light heavyweight. He was just carrying excess body fat. There was no muscle mass or anything he needed to drop off here. 205 seems like the right weight class for him. Although I will say I've met Junior Tafa. He's a big individual. I met him at Auckland at SFL. Really nice guy. Took a photo with me. And Junior Tafa is pretty big. I'm not exactly the smallest guy, and he dwarfs me pretty easily, at 6'3" there. So he's taken on Tuka Tukas. Junior Tafa is a come-forward striker that has dangerous power in his hands. He's a glory kickboxer, I believe, in the heavyweight division. But his takedown defense has let him down inside of the UFC time and time again. In this matchup here against Tuka Tukas, friend, training partner of Brendan Allen, the takedowns are what he's looking for. But I will say that he's a bit of a scrapper as well. You go back and you watch his fight against Ming Yang Zhang. Tuka Tukas does not go down easy, even in the fact that he went 3 rounds with Navajo Sterling. Everybody knows I'm a Navajo Sterling believer. I'm going to say that Tuka Tukas, being able to withstand 3 rounds against Navajo Sterling, while that is impressive, I think Junior Taffa's a little bit more willing to let it all hang loose and try and kill his opponent than the likes of Navajo Sterling. So the round one danger upside here for Junior Taffa is very real. And I'm going to say that Tuka Tukas in this matchup, he can win this fight, but he needs to slow it down. If he just goes out here and just, trades willy-nilly, it's probably going to end like how he fought Zhang Minyang, with him on the side of the cage, eating shots until the ref pulls him off of him. But if he gets the takedowns going, which I honestly see as a very real scenario, I could see him grinding out a decision victory here. So I'm going to go Tuka Tukos winning by decision. Low confidence here goes that. Low confidence. This is a low-level light heavyweight bout. Like, neither of these guys is world champion written on their forehead here. Tuka Tukos probably surprised he's still in the UFC at this point. Junior Taffa, if he loses this one, probably won't be. The fighter has to win, in my opinion, and honestly, not only win, but win impressively, or they might not have a spot here on the UFC. If somebody comes out here and doesn't look good, like in this matchup, they might both find themselves on the chopping block. I'm going to go Tuka Tukos to win by decision. Low confidence, though, guys. Key to say that. Low confidence. Now, speaking of low confidence, Vtor fucking Patrino going out here. Is he going to take all of our money again? Probably. Vtor Patrino has been the ultimate parlay killer because he turns up, shits the bed, gets submitted in a guillotine that he jumped into against Anthony Smith, goes out there, he's starting to look pretty good. Round 3, Dustin Jacoby, get me out of this goddamn nightmare. Vtor Patrino gets knocked out. He comes in here against Austin Lane. I think it was also written down somewhere, DeJuan Lane, so bro is reviving himself. It reminds me of when Snoop Dogg tried to be Snoop Lion and released a reggae album. Nobody listened to it, and so he just went back to being Snoop Dogg. Austin Lane's probably not going to have success here. Vtor Patrino is a bit of a parlay buster. I'm not going to say that I have high confidence in him here, but it seems like the obvious pick to take Vtor Patrino because if he touches Austin Lane's chin, it might just turn to dust here. Austin Lane got slept bad by Mario Pinto, and we cashed on that here on the BetSam channel. We picked Mario Pinto, and we picked him to win by knockout. And now Austin Lane's coming in here. It honestly seems too soon. I don't know how you guys feel, but it seems like Austin Lane's just coming in way too soon for somebody that got dusted bad. So the play's got to be Vtor Patrino by knockout here. I'm not saying throw him in all your parlays, but, up here at heavyweight, I can only imagine that Patrino has more pop on his shots, not less. So I'm going to say Patrino wins by getting some grappling going and honestly might even accidentally knock out Austin Lane just by throwing a combination to get to the grappling. So, yeah, Vtor Patrino by left hook knockout, official prediction. Then we have Nate the Train, baby. Nate Landwehr in his hometown. I think this is Nashville. Maybe is Nate the Train's Nate the Train at the UFC, baby. The toughest, buckest, wild son of a, all the rest of it. We all want to see a Nate Landwehr post-fight speech this weekend. We all do, I don't think we're getting it. I really don't. I think that Morgan Charrier, he really likes calling them French pussies, all the rest. But I don't think he counts as a French pussy. You watch a lot of his fights, it seems like he's pretty game, pretty hungry to get in there. Sometimes can be a little bit low volume, but he's always looking for the knockout. I think Nate Landwehr's head is always where you expect it to be, which for me means that Morgan Charrier is going to knock him out. I think Morgan Charrier is the better overall fighter here. I think that Nate Landwehr has already shown that if you put a beating on him, he kind of struggles to get back into fights this late in his career. And I think Morgan Charrier is going to get ahead. I think he's going to be ahead in the grappling. And I think he's going to knock out Nate Landwehr. And it's not going to be a fairy tale happy ending for Nate the Train in the UFC, baby. Then we have Kelvin Kedar, a.k.a. Kelvin Kedar, taking on Steve Garcia. Steve the Mean Machine, I think maybe it is. Garcia coming on, what is it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? Is 5 knockouts in a row? Something like that. Listen, guys, Kelvin Kedar, excellent fighter. Used to be one of my favorite up-and-comers inside the featherweight division. That was a minute ago. That is long since left the station. Wasn't able to get past Aljamain Sterling. Got grappled for, 14 minutes, 59 seconds of the fight. Goes out there, gets outpointed, outstruck by Yusuf Zalal. Now he's coming in here against Steve Garcia. He's been grappled. He's been out decision. It's probably time for him to get knocked out. Give me Steve Garcia. This is a change of the guard matchup, in my opinion. I think he wins this fight by knockout. I'm not highly confident in that, but I'm going to be taking Steve Garcia to win this matchup. Also, what is up with the tan line in this photo? Bro looks like he's been sunbaked, and he's just whipped off his shirt straight away for the UFC there. That's crazy. Then we have Stephen Wonderboy Thompson taking on Gabriel Bonf, Brazil's own, Machete or something like that. Listen, Stephen Thompson, 42 years old. I know he eats a lot of blueberries. He teaches karate class to the children, all the rest of it. He lives a pretty clean existence. He's the nicest motherfucker in the UFC. I still think he's going to lose here. I think Gabriel Bonf, a lot of people are talking about how he's going to struggle at distance, struggle at range, Stephen Thompson, all the rest of it. Gabriel Bonfim's boxing is fantastic. His grappling is even better. I think he wins this fight anywhere it goes. Even in a pure striking match, I still think he does enough here. Gabriel Bonfim, second part of the Slam of the Week. I think he wins this fight inside the distance, most likely via submission. Then we have the main event of the evening. We have Derrick Lewis, a.k.a. the Knockout King, taking on Tallison Teixeira. This is a changing of the guard. I think that they're giving Derrick Lewis to Tallison Teixeira, hoping that Tallison Teixeira will be the new Derrick Lewis. And what I mean by that is this is a big guy. He's a polarizing character. He's almost 7 feet tall. He wants to knock everybody out in the first round. Let's make a name for him here. Give him old boy Derrick Lewis. And if Tallison Teixeira can knock him out, then, by all means, they can just start throwing bombs to this guy and he can knock him out and people watch it every single weekend. I'm fucking here for it. But so many people are wanting all these prospects. Your Peyton Talbots, your Malcolm Wellmakers, all the rest of these guys. They're wanting them to just jump straight into the fire. I say fuck all that. I want to see your Jacoby Smiths knocking out your Nico Prices. I want to see your fighters like Malcolm Wellmakers getting teed up with somebody like Chris Martinez. I want to see them building some prospects, man. I want these fighters to have a goddamn giant highlight reel by the time they get to the title. Everybody's talking about fighters getting their 2, 3, 4 fights. Like, I want to see the long road. I'm here for the journey. As a fan, I really like when they give people the slow road. Give them the Sean O'Malley treatment. Let's coast. Let's give them 4, 5, 6 easy fights. Then we'll start throwing the wolves. Tallison Teixeira here. I think he gets past Derrick Lewis. I think he wins by knockout. Guys, that is the full card breakdown. That is it. I think that Derrick Lewis is live for a knockout. Sure, he's a freaking 265-pound, 6'3" black man with more knockouts in the UFC than anybody ever. But the reality is this is a young man's game, and Tallison Teixeira is a 6'7" big Brazilian beast, and I think he's also going to come in here looking to kill, and his chin has looked pretty good so far. I know he gets hit, but we haven't seen him get dropped or rocked, so I'm going to go Tallison Teixeira to win this fight by knockout. Guys, if you want to sign up, it's only $10 a month to support your boy. Sign up to WeWantPicks.com/BetSam. The link is in the goddamn description for all my bets and many other tools. Code BetSam for 10% off. Thank you all for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. Let's make some money. And, love you guys.